Jazakumullah. Now, before other questions, I should like to return to some unattended business in connection with our past meetings together here. You know, some things cropped up here and there, which I promised I'll show you the references, etc., and then the matter was forgotten. I didn't do it on qasam, but it was a promise. So this reminds me that I must fulfill that promise, or I have to pay some kafara. I would like to do that, right? One was about Rais Jafri, who was the official historian of Muslim League, the movement which resulted in the creation of Pakistan with the grace of Allah. The movement was led by Qadiyazim, and he was the official appointee of Muslim League to preserve the history of the movement which resulted in Pakistan. Nowadays, when they spread false propaganda against Ahmadis among the Arabs, they also say things about they were false to the cause of Pakistan, like the British government of Pakistan in the days of Ziab issued a so-called white paper. They say they are disloyal to Pakistan, they are disloyal to Islam, they are disloyal to this. These are the people who are absolute liars, absolute liars. All those who were disloyal to the cause of Pakistan are now at the helm of affairs, except a few. They have captured the sources of power in Pakistan. They are the mullahs, the Jamaat Islami Mullah Maududi, who has now become so popular in the Arab world because of some big powers distributing their literature widely among the Arabs for him to gain influence. They are the people who opposed Pakistan tooth and nail. It were Ahmadis who stood up to support Pakistan, and they offered sacrifices. The question which led me to this promise was that what did Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmed II, head of the Ahmadiyya community, think about Pakistan in 1946 or 45? What?
I've got the question.
Yeah?
I've got the question.
That's right. Read this question.
Yes. كان هذا السؤال من الأخ أبو مطر من النرويج. قال فيه: ما هو موقفكم بين عامي 1940 و 1945 من تأسيس جمهورية باكستان؟ ألم تعملوا سرا ضد هذه الفكرة تنفيذا لتعليمات الاستعمار البريطاني؟
So, but this is what I'm saying. This is the false propaganda carried out, entirely false propaganda carried out by the enemies of Ahmadiyyat, while it was they who were in league with anti-Pakistan, anti-Muslim forces, and were conspiring to undermine the very creation of Pakistan. I said I'll quote it from the official recognized history of the creation of Pakistan written by Rais Jafri. Here I have got certain references. First of all, about Qaid-e-Azam. Qaid-e-Azam had abandoned the cause of Pakistan after getting disgusted with the attitude of the Muslims. It was my late father, the then head of the Ahmadiyya community, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmed, who sent a personal message to Qaid-e-Azam through the Imam of London Mosque, was Abdul Rahim Dard in those days, and said, go to him and convince him to return to India, because the Muslims of India need him, and he should not mind whatever attitude, negative attitude, the mullahs or others are adopting towards your movement. So he went there and he stayed locked with him until he ultimately persuaded him to return. This event is also recorded in that history, written by Rais Jafri, official representative of Muslim League, not Ahmadi, not an Ahmadi. قائد اعظم محمد علی جناح ہندو ذہنیت اور کانگریس میں شامل علماء کے مسلم کچھ طبیعت سے گول میز کانفرنس کے دوران ہی سخت مایوس ہو گیا. Worthy of reading. He says that قائد اعظم محمد علی جناح was absolutely disgusted with the bigoted attitude of the Hindus and the Muslim ulama who were supporting the cause of Hindu Congress. He was fed up with the attitude of not common Muslims, but the ulama, the mashayikh of Muslims, who were all of them supporting the cause of the Hindu Congress. Then he decided to leave India forever, say farewell to India, and return to his residence in England. Qaid Azam, according to this historian, himself mentions this in one of his writings. He says, میں حیران ہوں کہ میری ملی خودداری اور وقار کو کیا ہو گیا تھا. میں کانگریس سے صلح و مفاہمت کی بھیک مانگا کرتا تھا. میں نے اس مسئلہ کے حل کے لیے اتنی مسلسل و غیر منقطع مساعی کی کہ ایک انگریز اخبار نے لکھا, مسٹر جناح ہندو مسلم اتحاد کے مسئلے سے کبھی نہیں تھکتے. He says, there was a time when I genuinely believed that the Hindus and Muslims can work together. And despite the fact that I was disappointed repeatedly by the insistent Hindu attitude of prejudice against Muslims, but I continued to work for this. I wonder why I did it for so long. So when Qaid Azam did it, made the effort to bring the Muslims of India and Indians of India together under one united country, Hazrat Muslim also did the same. And they object against him and not they object against Qaid Azam. You see, this is the period which he refers to in the question. لیکن گول میز کانفرنس کے زمانہ میں مجھے اپنی زندگی کا سب سے بڑا صدمہ پہنچا. He says, but during the round table conference, I received the greatest shock of my life. جیسے ہی خطرہ کے آثار نمایاں ہوئے, ہندویت دل و دماغ کے اعتبار سے اس طرح نمایاں ہوئی کہ اتحاد کا امکان ہی ختم ہو گیا. So when Hindu mentality became manifestly apparent during the round table conference, then I lost hope in any effort to keep India united and unite the Muslims and the Hindus of Indian subcontinent. Having lost hope, I saw that the Muslims were undecided between this and that. کبھی حکومت کے وفادار وفاداران رہنمائی کے لیے میدان میں موجود ہوتے تھے, کبھی کانگریس کے نیازمندان خصوصی ان کی قیادت کا فرض ادا کرنے لگتے تھے. Sometimes those loyal to the British, they jumped into the arena to mislead the Muslim masses. And sometimes those who were loyal to the cause of the Hindu Congress, they took up the command of leadership and they went on misleading Muslim people and adding to their confusion. Then I thought I cannot do anything for India. That was the end of it. نہ ہندو ذہنیت میں کوئی خوشگوار تبدیلی کر سکتا ہوں, نہ مسلمان کی آنکھیں کھول سکتا ہوں. I can neither open up the eyes of the Muslims nor change the attitude of the Hindus. It was then that I decided to return to London and remain there forever, disconnected entirely with the Indian affairs. It was during this period that Hazrat Muslim Maud instructed Hazrat Dard Sahib to convince Qaid-e-Azam to return and forget about his disappointments. This event is also covered with reference to the newspapers of that time, and also covered by some great Muslim League leaders of that period. But I think the time is over, isn't it? 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay, I'll finish this and then you can translate tomorrow if you like. First of all, what happened was, and the coverage I produce is Madras Mail, 7th April 1933, Hindu Madras, 7th April 1933, Evening Standard, 7th April 1933, Egyptian Gazette, Alexandria, West Africa, 15th April 1933, Statesman, Calcutta, 8th April 1933, Sunday Times, London, 9th April 1933. Now this happened as early as that. You should correct your chronology. If I said something contrary to this should be corrected. Qaid-e-Azam's total disillusionment with the attitude of Hindus and the Muslims has already reached a stage of no compromise in 1933. He was brought back to India by Hazrat Muslim Maud emissary. These are the papers who cover this. The substance of what they have published is that Maulana there, the Imam of the London Mosque, was ordered by the head of the Ahmadiya community there. No, it doesn't say it was, or he was ordered by the head of the community. This is, of course, a known thing. No Imam of the London Mosque would move ahead on his own, you know. We know from our literature that he was specifically ordered. But this coverage says only this much. Maulana there, the Imam of the London Mosque, went to Qaid-e-Azam's residence at King's Bench Walk, London. This is the address given by the publishers. There he met with him and remained locked with him for full 3 hours. And after this persuasion by the Imam of London Mosque, ultimately Qaid-e-Azam gave in, and he decided to return for the public service of Muslims of India. Then he also agreed to deliver a lecture in Baitul Fazl, this is London Mosque, 63 Melrose, London, the old address of this place, to come himself and speak on the issue of the future of India. By way of recognition of the services of the Imam Sahib, you have persuaded me to return to the politics of India, so I'll begin my campaign from here. I'll come to your mosque and deliver my lecture on the future of India. This thing is covered by these papers. In this, you know what he said? He says, the eloquent persuasion of the Imam left me no escape. This is published. The confession by Qaid-e-Azam, or the admission by Qaid-e-Azam, that I decided to return to the politics of India and to do service to the cause of Muslims because persuasion of the Imam of this mosque left me no area, no corner of escape. And you know, Qaid-e-Azam is a very adamant advocate, very highly capable advocate. Once he took up a stance, he would never change it. And the British were tired of this adamant attitude of Qaid-e-Azam, and they have mentioned it in so many ways. This man is impossible to move. But he was moved by the Imam of Masjid London, had he not met him, had he not persuaded him with such vehemence, there would be no Pakistan today. So those who have captured, they in fact have hijacked the Pakistan of Qadianism and the Pakistan of Ahmadiyya Jamaat. Now, Mim Shin, he at one time was almost a committed enemy of Ahmadiyya, a great Muslim leader. But he died almost an Ahmadi. I knew him personally, and with the passage of time he was more and more convinced that all the allegations against Ahmadiyya are false, they are good, they are dedicated. They are in fact true Muslim if anyone is. Now he writes on 11th September 1981 in Pakistan Times, when already the hostility against Ahmadiyya had reached a very high pitch. But he did not hesitate to say this much. So disgusted was Mr. Jinnah with washing of the dirty linen Indian politics, of perhaps dirty linen of Indian politics in public by the leaders of Indian public opinion, that he decided to retire from Islamic Indian politics and in token therefore took his abode in London almost permanently. It was Mr. Liaquat Ali Khan and Maulana Abdul Rahim Dard. Now he has added Maulana Liaquat Ali Khan from his own. There is no evidence published in any newspaper that Maulana Nawab Liaquat Ali Khan was not here in London. Or if he was, he didn't participate in this at all. Qaid-e-Azam only mentioned Nayyar Sahib. But he at least had the honesty to name him publicly. So he says, Maulana Dard, an Imam of London Mosque, who persuaded Mr. M.A. Jinnah to change his mind and return home to play his role in the national politics consequently. But it should full stop here. Yes, full stop at politics, then new sentence. Consequently, Mr. Jinnah returned to India in 1934 and was elected to the Central Assembly unopposed. This I am reading from Pakistan Times, 1988. This is translation. So we'll return to the same subject tomorrow, inshallah. And I can come a few minutes late because we have to translate this tomorrow. And please seek forgiveness from the audience or the viewers for this longish discussion which will remain untranslated for today.
مشاهدينا الكرام، لقد أزف الوقت لهذا البرنامج، ويعتذر حضرة أمير المؤمنين على طول الكلام بالنسبة لهذا الموضوع، وإن شاء الله سنكمل الترجمة لهذا الكلام الذي ذكره حضرة أمير المؤمنين في الحلقة القادمة إن شاء الله تعالى.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.